Welcome to A Kick Up the Arts. I am Nicola Meighan, and after 30 odd episodes and over 6 months, well over 6 months, I've finally capitulated and tried to visualise this podcast. If you're a regular listener, you'll know that I record with brilliant guests in fab art spaces around the country, carrying my recording equipment on a rucksack on my back. So I have tried to do the same with my filming equipment, which basically amounts to my iPhone on a tripod. That's all it is. But I hope you enjoy my chat with the brilliant comedian, writer, director and filmmaker Paul Black. We recorded this at the Pearce Institute in Govan. We're chatting about Paul's terrific new BBC short film, Govan Fair Queen. It sees 9-year-old Abigail reluctantly roped into entering the annual local pageant by our fired-up granny Linda, who is played brilliantly by Elaine C Smith. It's a really warm and funny love letter to family, community and pride via footballers, flatpack furniture and crufts. It also features the 3 greatest named siblings you will ever hear. Before we dive in, quite literally incidentally, because as you will see, we found a bath on my ad hoc TV set. Just a reminder that I would love you to join me in conversation with Gavin Mitchell, Gordon Buchanan, Barbara Dixon, Grant Stott, Justin Curry and music icon Horse will be at the Edinburgh Fringe in August at the Stand. There are tickets and lots more information via kickupthearts.org. But for now, to Govan. Come for Paul's chat about wrestling and identity. Stay for my face toward the end when I look at the camera several times, horrified, because I suddenly think I've forgotten to press record. You can even see me trying to style it out afterwards. You've got to give it a go, right? Anyway, thank you for listening and for watching.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the clap. I don't know how to do the clap.
You can think something.
Yeah. You just do it.
Go for it.
First clap.
So when you look in the edit thing, there'll be a spike in the audio, and then you can match that spike in the audio to the spike in the visual.
Right. Oh,
and
is that what it is?
Then you sync it. I learned something in college.
See,
I'm not.
You taught me well. You've taught me already. I'm not. There's a sink over there. I've not got any water or anything.
I'm fine. No,
right.
fine.
Okay. Well, we won't. We hopefully won't speak for that long.
Oh, that's all right.
I need to have these because I do need to make sure the audio works.
Yeah.
So of course, does that look okay? I hate visual. I hate visual.
I know you need to dress up now. You could turn up to work looking terrible previously.
It's not an option anymore. It's not a thing. Right, so let's record. Oh, wait a minute. I need to sync again because, of course, I clapped before I was recording. See what I mean? I'm a professional. Like the echo.
Oh, that's nice.
What do you think of the studio,
That's
Paul Black?
Nice.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe that this was just here. Oh, sorry, I mean that you brought this with you and set it up so nicely.
The wonderful Betty downstairs at the Pearce Institute was like, I'll show you a few spaces you could use. They were very excited to have you in the building for reasons we will discuss. And I saw a boardroom, which was wonderful. And then she said, oh, you could come in the Fairfield Hall, I think it's called. Yeah. And I saw a fireplace, which I thought was nice. And Betty went, there's another fireplace. And turned round to find this. For the audio purposes, a pink bath with rose gold taps. What else? I mean... We've
got like a neon sign board almost, like a cage with neon signs on it. There's some nice balloons on top, but not your average balloon.
Yeah.
It's quite cool. So what do people want with this at a wedding? Do they want people to get in the bath?
I suspect that
and
was
take
happening.
Pictures? Is that the vibe?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was filled with things.
And there is that part of the podcast to come.
Oh, okay. In the bath podcast. That's fine.
I like the Let's Party and disco neon signs. Yeah, these gold stars. Anyway, not the first time there's been a party in this building by a long shot. And the Govan Fair Gala is held in Fairfield Hall. And you were here this year?
I was, yes. It was. So it's actually downstairs in here. And I've been in it quite a few times when I was younger, but this is the first time I've been involved in it, which was bizarre. Because I was making the film, Govan Fair Queen, they invited me down to crown the Queen. And it's honestly, I was like, this is the most bizarre. I don't even know. I was like, how did I get here? I went along, and I think my auntie, who's like lives and breathes the Govan Fair Queen, it's like her life. She was on holiday when it happened, and she was raging. She was like, I can't believe this has happened, and I'm away. But it was so funny because I was kind of like, what am I doing? Crowning the Govan Fair Queen. And I felt like I had to, luckily I was able to speak at the start of it and say, by the way, the reason I'm here is because I've made this film. It's not just because, like, these are like, who is this random man?
Trying to justify yourself.
Yeah,
It's the most wonderful. It's the most wonderful example of life imitating art I can think of in a long time.
Absolutely.
It's lovely that your auntie, you're saying, basically lived and breathed the Govan Fair, because I did wonder what your own memories of it were. And when I ask about memories that are your own, of course, you can maybe say, when did you first come?
Yeah.
But as often as not with things like this, and we see it in the film as well, we live other people's recollections of these landmarks.
And over again.
Totally.
So I came to this, I don't know what age I was when I came the first time, but I think in the film you don't see this, but the biggest part of the Govan Fair is the parade. So I didn't have the budget to keep going and get the full parade in, but I mean that goes through all the streets of Govan, and it is massive. It's grown smaller each year, and that's a thing a lot of the people in the community are fighting to, bring more attention back to it. And I think it's just with the way things have changed. People don't attend things like that in general as much anymore, and there's not as much of a sense of community in a lot of places. But I mean, there certainly is here in Govan, and I think it was good to highlight that. So yeah, I came a lot when I was a child. Me and my friend were debating this the other day. What I loved about it was there used to be a Tunnocks van in the parade that threw out free caramel wafers, caramel logs, but I prefer Tunnocks tea cakes. But my friend, who is Alana, she's in the film actually, she plays Gemma in the film, she was saying, she grew up here, she's always claims that one year there was a McDonald's van that threw out cheeseburgers. I've never heard anyone else confirm this. We go toe to toe with this every time we discuss it, and she's like, "You just want this?" She went, "I'm actually from Govan. Your family's just from Govan."
Oh, I see.
So she one-ups me there, but I didn't see any cheeseburgers being thrown. Obviously, I would remember that.
That does sound like a bit of a fever dream, I have to say. In saying that, got to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. Wait, I want facts.
Yeah.
Someone else actually started researching for this for me recently, and they said that there was a McDonald's float but no free cheeseburgers. So that's getting, the story's changing.
This is what happens. This is what happens with storytelling.
And that's what's beautiful about it. It grows arms and legs and it becomes a better story. But when we're looking for the truth, I don't think there was a McDonald's van.
Cheeseburgers did not or may not have featured.
That's a health and safety risk. You can't throw a cheeseburger. What if it's solid?
Also, it could be quite hot. I mean, it could be moderately lukewarm.
It could come out of the wrapper.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider there. Stories grow in arms and legs is an interesting notion, because I wondered how long this story of the Govan Fair Queen has been with you in your imagination even before you started putting it on the page. Were there any particular characters who you were like, this has to grow arms and legs?
I think I just like writing female characters a lot, and that's something I'm quite good at. And I think it's just because I spent a lot of time with my mum and my aunties and my granny, and I still do. I think Scottish women, working class Scottish women, I think are literally funnier than just the average one in the street. Is funnier than your average stand-up comedian. It's like I find there's so much warmth and humour in it, and I think that's why I wanted to write something about that. But with this, I think I'd had the idea for a wee while if I wanted to do something that was about like a beauty pageant, because I spoke about this before, but there was some, I love films like Drop Dead Gorgeous and Little Miss Sunshine. I think they're so funny, and I also like quite camp things, and I feel there's not a lot of that these days, in film. And I think there's so much humour in it. There's a film called Best in Show, which is
brilliant film.
It's fantastic, and it's all about if you don't know what it is, it's about it's like crufts basically. It's people with dog owners, but it's like a mockumentary, and it's so it's hilarious and it's incredible. I love that film, and I always imagine something like that, but obviously Scottish. And I remember thinking, what if it is about the Govan Fair? And I originally had all these people who were former Govan Fair queens, so there wasn't any kids in it in the first idea, and I thought that would be funny, and just doing a kind of mockumentary thing. And then I spoke with my producer Margarita, who I work with in a lot of things, and I normally just talk to her about ideas I have, and they're normally just like a few scribbles on my phone, and then she'll go, that one sounds like there's something more to it. And she kept coming back to it, and I kept saying, I really want to make a short film, because in order to make a feature film, you need to make a few shorts, and I'd done more TV stuff. And she was like, I really think there's something there. And I was like, I don't know, I can't see where it's going to go. But that's the beautiful thing about working with creative producers, is you develop things into something that becomes a fully fledged idea. And we did that for a bit, and then we knew there was a BBC Three and BBC Scotland short comedy film commission window coming up, and we thought, let's just put something in. We sat down and wrote a one-pager about it, and we sent it in, and they were like, yeah, which hasn't ever happened to us before.
Wow.
I think the timing was just good, and like I think it was towards the end of the window they had to make it in like the next few months or something, and they were like, we still have a slot left, this is great, we really like it. And then they were almost like, yeah, that's happening, and which was my first experience of something going so well from idea to screen. But then we entered development, and then we started changing the story a little bit. We had so many different versions of it, and I think that's like with anything you see was 10 different stories before, and we landed on the dynamic of the granny Linda, played by Elaine C Smith, and Abigail, our granddaughter, played by her Blue Hamilton. We landed on that dynamic, and then we started casting, and we started doing different drafts of the script, and it changes it all the time, right up until the very last minute. But it was a lot of fun, this one.
I think probably there's more of a truth if you allow it to keep changing up till the very last minute, right?
Oh, definitely. And it's obviously stressful for all the people that are doing all the logistics and everybody and all the lovely crew who are like organising everything, and you go, oh no, I don't want that anymore. Oh, I want that, and I'm very indecisive, so that's hard. But it was the least stressed I've been about a project as well. I just felt like the kind of stars aligned when making it. I mean, there was obviously some stumbling blocks and difficulties and stress, but it just felt like there wasn't a point where we were going, actually, I don't want to do this anymore, which I always feel. When I do stand-up, I'm about to go on stage and I go, why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. And then I go and enjoy it. But I didn't have any of that feeling.
That's a recurring theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether it's acting or I think anything you're doing where you suddenly get the point and you think, will I run?
Yeah, it's anything that's vulnerable and anything that involves you putting yourself out there. I think you'd sit and go, you have to go, I chose to do this. Why on earth did I choose to do this? I don't want to do this. And then you realise, yeah, you do. You just need to get over that bit.
Get over it. It's lovely you saying how much you enjoy writing women's voices and experiences. And I utterly agree. I think you just encapsulate so much of what we love about particularly Scottish women of all ages, really. And as we're speaking, it occurs to me that other than a pin-up who's a footballer, there aren't any men in this at all, right?
No.
We don't see any men on screen. Was that an active choice?
Well, it wasn't like intentional for the beginning that I'm like, I don't want any guys in this. I just kept writing characters, and there was so many people that I wanted to work with. Yeah. So nearly everyone in this, I imagined them playing that character. So like I didn't, which is obviously a lucky position for them because I managed to get them all and they were all available. So, but I'd imagined them all. So I loved working with the ones that I'd worked before with, like Maureen Carr and people like that. I think are so incredibly funny and talented and great actors. And then people I worked with the first time I'd always wanted to. And there's 4 people in this that are stand-up comedians as well. So some of them hadn't done some acting stuff before, and I was quite keen to have them in something because I when I watched them on stage and go to see their stand-up shows, I could see them as a character. It was great. So basically there was, and even if there was like 5 more characters, I still don't think a guy would have been in it because there was other people on my list going, I want to work with them, but we can't add any more characters in at this point. It's too complicated to have the money to add more and more characters because I think there's 26 cast in this, which for a short film, they tend to say to you, like, let's keep it 2 actors, 3 at a push, 1 location.
You've got like 2 per minute.
Yeah. But like, it's because the story, you can get away with it, like if that was anything else, it'd be like, do you need all these people? But to tell a story about that, and I think I've had such lovely feedback from it since it's been on, and again, not something I'm used to good stuff, but there's some bad, and there's not been much bad with it. So I've been really pleased with that. But also, everyone that said to me is going, the only thing I didn't like about it was that it was too short. And I was like, well, it's a short film. That's how it works. But that's a good thing, and it's a compliment that they wanted it to be longer.
I also think there is something to be said about the power of packing so much into something short. I mean, you first came to our attention and then some with short form films effectively on TikTok. Yeah. This is longer than those, but 13, 14 minutes. And yet what really, really struck me is emotionally, like dramatically, historically, I feel like I totally have the landscape of these families, this community, their shared past, the grannies as wee girls. And there's so much humour in it as well, and so much kindness, I think, which is a lovely thing. And in 14 minutes, I've got to say, in a way, like, that's a magic trick. But that is hard. So difficult, right? Was it? How much editing had to be done?
Well, always so much. The first cut of this was, I think, 22.
And I bet you were like,
minutes.
I cannot lose another second.
I hate it. I can't do it because I'm like, well, we'll just make it 22 minutes.
Yes.
Like, no, it can't be. And I'm like, well,
is it a better film for being the 14?
I think so. There's a few bits that I wish were still in it, but like I remember back in 2019 was the first time I'd directed something, and it was a sketch pilot, a sketch show pilot, and my editor I was working at the time, she said to me, look, the first rule of editing is kill your darlings. And
yes,
I was like,
it's
so I don't want to. I don't want to.
I love my darlings.
And yeah, that's why they're my darlings. I love them so much. But I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But you have to. And it is also often better for it. And you need to remember that you need to constantly remind yourself that the audience are seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
You've seen it a million times. You've seen every part of it from the second that the idea came into your head to it being in the edit. So you've seen every variation of it, and that also makes you feel a bit like, is this good anymore? It's very hard to know it, like have any sort of distance from it. I find that impossible because I just don't know, and sometimes I just have to be like, okay, it's done, and that's good, and well done for completing it. Well done everyone that worked on it, and whatever happens now, it's like it's done. When we made it, and the kind of relief is in the achievement of getting over the line, because then I'm like, I don't know. And then when you do get some feedback, I was like, okay, must be all right.
It's way more than that. And I'm not surprised at all that you've had such I've seen the response to it, and little wonder, I think that will continue. I would say two things. One, it really does bear repeated watchings. I've watched it quite a few times.
Oh, good,
now,
thank you. That's great for my numbers,
right,
so please keep doing that.
But seriously, because the detail, I wanted all the detail. I wanted the period detail.
Yeah.
I wanted the phone on the wall. I wanted what are the fridge magnets, right? Because nothing's there by accident, and every bit of that you can relish. So I think, although it is the 14 minutes, you're going to spend as long as you would maybe with a feature if you really want to, and you'll get different details every time, right?
I think so, and it's true what you say about everything's intentional, isn't it? And you do that knowing that people won't even notice, but it's kind of a thing for you. Like, there's a magnet on the fridge that says, like, I think, I wish I had hair. It's just like a baldy guy's thought bubble said, I wish I had hair. And like, I think my dad maybe bought that magnet or someone bought it for my dad like 20 years ago or something. I just thought it was funny because I'm like, when my siblings watch that, they'll laugh because they'll remember that's from that. And all sorts of things. It's filmed in my mum's house, so and even some little dialogue bits that maybe don't mean anything to anyone, but I know to my family they'll understand, like, oh, that's what your granny said, or that's what your mum always says, or like things like that. So it's nice to put wee details like that in.
Completely. And I do think there's a lot of it that is familiar. It is so much about family. I love that your own family are so much at the part of it. Your auntie absolutely loving the Govan Fair. And I think especially in Elaine C Smith's character, Linda, we have the kind of quintessential Glasgow granny, right? Tough love, warm heart, really protective, bit of a martyr, sort of rose-tinted nostalgist in this sense of, what could have been if she hadn't been done wrong. She's still in many ways the little kid back in the day. And I think, so many of us can sort of relate to that with our own grannies or our own, older family members looking back and going, imagine.
I hope so, because I think it's like do you know what, when I first realised, when I used to make TikToks that were like a bit daft, that were like, I used to do things that were either just like your dad when this happens or your mum when this happens, and then go on and do an impression of the way typical working class Glaswegian parents act about things, and they always done really well, and and people would be like, no, this is literally my mum, this is literally my dad, and I was like, but it's based on mine, so how is this yours? And then I'm like, do we all and people would comment, oh, it turns out we all had the same mum, because it does feel that way, and then it's not even just Glasgow, it's beyond, and it goes, it's Scottish mum, and then even different places, and you see it travel gradually. And I thought that's when I realised, well, if I write something that feels true to me, then there naturally will be people that also resonate, because it's not like I had the most unique experience, as much as you might think that sometimes that there's a lot of things where you go, having it. Another thing I see people comment online a lot is, I've never had an original experience in my life, because when someone talks about something really specific and people are like, I thought that was just me.
It's so totally
So
true.
I think that connects us in a way, which is nice.
It is.
And some people said to me, oh, it made me miss my granny, or it reminded me of my granny, or it made me emotional about my granny. And I'm like, I didn't think anyone would be emotional about it
No, I think
all.
that's absolutely true. It put me most in mind of my mum-in-law.
Oh, really?
Because I'm from Stirling, so my grandparents are very similar, but not quite that. But my mum-in-law, Renee, much missed now, and she was in the 50s, Denniston beauty queen.
Well, see, this is the thing.
Right.
Everyone, I've learned about all these different gala days and all about these different people. I grew up in Corker Hill, which is just 3 streets, right? And I even found out, so I grew up in a place called Hardridge Road, and my mum was going, yeah, there was a Hardridge Gala Queen. And I was like, why didn't nobody tell me about that? I could have even made a film about that. But yeah, there were, everything had a queen and or like there's like even one of our access coordinators on the film, she was from Canada, and she was like, well, I won like the tractor queen something thing, and her, so it, like everyone has something to relate it to, you know.
They have, but so Renee was a wee bit older. She was so the Daily Record had I think it was the Daily Record had a competition to find Scotland's Sabrina. So there was this actress called Sabrina, who was this kind of huge film star, and they wanted to find Scotland's version. So I think Renee, by this point, I'm not entirely sure, maybe late teens into early 20s, right? And she had to have these exact vital statistics, which were something nuts, like 38, 23, 36. Her ankles had to be a certain circumference. She was like Diana Dors. She was absolutely stunning, and she became this beauty queen. But years and years and years later, and she always spoke about it, she always referred to that time, and then eventually she got dementia. And what happened when that happened, she was very happy, but she was Sabrina again. It was so much an inherent part of her identity.
Yeah.
And you never know when that's going to strike you, at what age you're going to find that you were that person. And there's a little bit of that. Elaine C Smith doesn't have it to that extent and didn't have quite that experience, Linda. But it's that sense of, it's about identity in many ways, this film, isn't it, for Linda?
And I think I noticed that with people in my life as well. Like, I think, like, even my auntie who loves Govan Fair Queen, she's always talking very specifically about what she wore on this time and what the dress she wore was made of, and going into such detail about it. I'm like, it obviously had such significance for you, or it really meant something to you, that's why you still talk about it all the time. But that's the thing, I'm being like repetitive about it. It's like, yeah, we know, we've heard it. And it's like every time someone new comes into the family, they get it because they're a new, fresh set of ears.
Yeah, quite. And they know the stories off by heart. And Abigail played, I mean, Harper Blue Hamilton is absolutely stunning. I cannot believe that's her debut role. She's unbelievable. And her dynamic with Elaine C Smith.
I was so impressed. And I will say as well, everyone that auditioned for this, particularly the top kind of 10 that we selected for that role, were all incredible. Like, really? And it was so hard. I honestly felt like I was on, like, you know, an X Factor when they have all their faces and they like move them side to side. That's what I felt like. And I was like, no, I can't do this. But very luckily, all the supporting child roles were people that didn't get chosen for that part. So we were able to just go,
right,
this one hasn't been here, but you can still be in it. And they were all great and they all still showed up, and it was great to work with them all. And even the casting was so much fun with them, because you could just have a laugh. There was nothing really serious about it. And because it's not a dramatic role, you literally didn't have to, you know, you just got to let them be cheeky and fun. And I think Harper was dead cheeky, and I loved it. She made us laugh so much in all the auditions, and she was just great. Like, and I was, even when it came to the first day of shooting, I was feeling a bit nervous, because I was thinking about what she would expect it to be versus what it's really like. Because, you know, it's long days, saying the same line over and over 10 different ways, and then doing that another 10 times, and then resetting, moving the lighting, sitting about, waiting. Like, there's a lot of things that aren't exciting about it, you know.
Especially when you're wee, right?
Oh, aye. So it must have been bored, but like at points. And on the third day of shooting, that's when we moved into shooting the big hall scene, so all the other kids were there. It worked out well, because then it was like, that was like she's done the harder part first, and then got to have a bit of a funner part. But I think they all really enjoyed it, and I just can't believe she's never acted before. No, it's crazy.
She's absolutely brilliant, and yes, they're completely believable. But it is about her identity as well. It's about Abigail's identity, what she is, what she's not, because it's about differentiating herself as well. And very much it's about her love of Henrik Larsson and her talent,
which is interesting because she's a big Rangers fan. So she was really acting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that just another
at one point,
string to her acting bow.
Elaine C Smith said to her, "I've got a signed Henrik Larsson top. If I can bring it in, you can see it." And she was like, "No, I don't want that." Like, fair enough.
But yeah, she's got her own identity. And I mean, she's 9 years old, so she's also very, very cool. Because I was thinking, like, what was I then? So I think I was basically, my identity when I was about that age was Snoopy and Erasure. Actually,
that's quite cool.
Truth be told, probably still is. Right?
Yeah, well, that's fine. I think that's cool. Someone asked me the other day what I was like when I was 9, because the character's 9, and I was like, I literally can't remember.
Yeah,
I don't think I was doing anything cool. I was probably quite big into wrestling.
Yeah.
And
which also features, by the way, at the Govan
Fair. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I know. Actually, when we came to do the crowning, there was wrestling happening outside in a ring outside. So that was interesting. Yeah,
it's perfect, isn't it? But that idea of identity, I struggle with it even now. Who really knows what they are? And because you've done so many sort of different things, but so much of it's also been self-generated, if you like. Was there a point at which you had to go, no, I have to actually actively call myself a comedian, a writer, a director? You do those things, but I think particularly maybe if we're Scottish, it's that thing of like, don't get ahead of yourself.
And it's like, I feel like now I can say filmmaker now. Yeah, but then even then it's like it feels like I'd be like, well, it was a short film, or well, it was on TV, so it was a bit but we did screen it at the GFT. But like, it's you are constantly saying like, oh well, when I do this, that's when I can call myself that role. But I remember one of my friends' dad saying to me years ago, saying something like if you operate in that mentality, it will never feel like you've accomplished something, because if you're constantly just looking for like, oh yeah, I'll be actually successful, or I'll have achieved something when I do this. Like even like I've done a few pilots on TV before, and I was like, yeah, but like when I do a series, that's when if I just do a series, then I'll feel like, okay, then I've actually made something. And then that he was like to me, but then you'll be like, no, I need another 3 series to actually feel like I've really done something, and then I need to win an award, and then I need to. And he's like, if you think like that, then you won't actually ever be happy with it. And I was like, it's true. You just need to I'm just really grateful to have opportunities, and I'm grateful to make stuff. I wish I could do it more often. I wish I could do it like as my full-time job regularly, but that is why I do multiple things, because like I'll do this film. I just finished doing a stand-up show and a little tour before we started shooting this, like 2 weeks before, so then I could put that to one side and be like, that show's over, don't need to think about that for ages or think about what's next for ages. I'm going to really focus intensely on this. And then I do my podcast, so again, that's a little thing to keep you busy and sometimes make a little bit of money from live shows and stuff. And then I can go back to do my stand-up. So then the start of next year, I'll probably do a stand-up tour again, depending on how things work out. But it is also hard because you're trying to forward plan. And I've been self-employed for almost 4 years, over 4 years, and I still every day I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing in a few months. And it always works out. I mean, there's periods where it's like feast or famine, and it's like sometimes you're like, oh, so much work, nothing for like 2 months, 3 months, and I just can't adjust to it. But I think that's just the nature of it, and you need to kind of embrace it until it really doesn't feel like you're like, oh, I don't know what the next thing is. And it's hard with like filmmaking and stuff, because any writer who just only operates off of like doesn't do another job, like you're looking for regular income, and you don't get it. So in Scotland, the opportunities aren't there all the time, and I guess so. I think it's about juggling a lot of things and then being able to call yourself all those. I think again, calling yourself all those things maybe takes away from the identity of one as well, doesn't it? I'm just constantly trying to outrun the TikTok label, which you can't outrun, because people just, like if they say it and they just say TikTok star, and I'm like, what does that mean?
I know. It's quite a blow to church.
Yeah, it is indeed. But
it's lovely already that I think there are recurring themes in your work. You wrote and directed First Fitting, BBC Special as well, and certainly between that and Govan Fair Queen, Maureen Carr, of course.
Yeah, she's the recurring theme in my work.
I'd say also social clubs.
Yeah,
and if we count karaoke, you could even say talent shows.
Yeah, that's true.
And what I love about those things are they're very social, they're very community based, they are kind of working class landscapes, if you like, hotbeds for drama and humour. They're familiar to us. But there are so many ways you can spring off that, as you've already been doing. Right?
Well, that's interesting, because there was things where I was like, oh, we can't do that because that's too similar to first footing, or like even like the stage, or like, do you want it to be like, when I was speaking to the art directors, they were like, do you want it to be like it's like that kind of tinsely thing? And
a bit like
no.
our backdrop here, in fact, in first footing, isn't
the
it?
gold, yeah. But I was like, no, I don't want it to be like that, because it's too similar. And also I liked this one, I really wanted to have something a wee bit more cinematic feeling, or a bit like, I don't know, a bit more intentional with the kind of layout and symmetry of things. And I think that stage was such a lovely, lovely colour, like the curtain and everything. And we got the art department on this, were amazing. And they just created like I just always love how talented people are at their own specialities in film. And that's why you all come together to work collectively with people that are like experts in their own field, because you know, I'm always amazed when I'm like, oh, I want it to look like this, or I want them to be wearing this, or I want that, and then someone just makes it happen. And it's like you just come up with all these ideas in your head and people make it happen for you. And it's like amazing. Obviously, you're like bringing them all together to make them work together, but it's like because they're so good at what they do.
It is. And Maureen Carr, I mean, a gift every single time, right?
I would
you have
work with Maureen Carr, and I've actually worked with her more than people think as well, because I've made something that wasn't ever seen the light of day that she was in as well. So I would work with her on anything. She's so talented. She's such a lovely person. She's so funny. And like, not just like when she's reading funny lines, I mean like in between, like just chatting to her in the set is, I love working with her. And she's one of these actors that's been working for so long, just continuously taking on those roles, and everything just constant, and doing it for the love of it, because she's just so fun to watch and be around. And I would watch anything that she was in, and even her group What's Her Face, they do, when I go and see any of their live comedy stuff, there's just so many funny women in that are so talented, and they're just, you know, they're putting it on themselves, they're going out and they're making it happen. And I just think she's amazing. I really love working with her.
So when you were writing the character of Linda, did you have Elaine C Smith? Because you said you had most of the actors in mind. And at what point did you float the idea to Elaine C Smith about being Linda?
I'll be honest, I was 100% obviously had her in my mind. That's what I thought. But then I thought it probably won't happen. So I was like, I should have been thinking about other people, but I wasn't.
No.
So like, I think I then kind of floated to the producers. I was like, imagine we just got Elaine C Smith for that. And luckily my producer was just like, well, let's try it. And I was like, I kind of floated that as like a joke just to see what, get the temperature of the room kind of thing. I was like, oh, what if Elaine C Smith does it? I'm joking, obviously, I know she'll do it.
That's that vulnerability thing as well, right?
I was like, I don't want them to think I've like lost my mind and be like, oh yeah, like why doesn't Brad Pitt do it? Like I think I wanted to be like, pose it as kind of a half joke, but then they were just so great, honestly, and they were like, just called Margarita Weberite and Lauren Lamar, and they were just so like, yeah, let's make it happen. And we worked with a casting director, we got her on board, and she contacted the agent who she'd, I think, spoken to before a few times about different things and worked with. So, and there was kind of a while where they're like, yeah, she's reading the script, they're just sorting some things out, and I was like, I didn't really know if she was going to be doing it or not, or like if it was kind of, I hadn't heard an actual answer, but only because we're focusing on so many other things that we like went around and we're like, right, let's put that to one side, we need to actually do all these things because this is happening.
Cannot wait just on this.
And they're like, let's just, that opened the background. Then I went to see Wild Rose, the musical in Edinburgh, and I bumped into the casting director there, and I was talking to her. I was like, oh, hi, I'm so glad we're working together.
Wasn't it great, by the way?
I loved it. It was intense. I was actually listening to a song from it on the way here.
Really?
Oh my God. I love it.
Perfect.
I see the casting director there, and I was chatting away to her, and then I was like, really good. I'd love to get Elaine. That would be amazing. Thanks for trying. And she was like, she's over there, by the way. And I was like, we can't go up to her. I was like, that would be insane if I was like, hi, I'm the director of this film, and I actually just bumped into the casting director, and now we're talking to you, and we're like, hi, do you want to be in it? Like that, even though that would be true, that would feel like that set up. So I didn't. And then I remember saying that to her, she was like, why didn't you just come up to me? But people are always
I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
I don't want to do it. I'll say if there's an in, fine, but if there wasn't a real in, or
it's like cold
weird,
calling or something with a tenuous connection.
Yeah, with an actual casting director by my side, that looks insane. But so then we spoke to her. She was up for it. Heard, yep, she's doing it 100%. And I was like, okay, it's happening. But again, there was so much happening going on, so you kind of had to just keep going and keep rolling. And then we did a chemistry read with 3 or 4 of the actors to play Abigail with Elaine over Zoom, but I was in London doing my show because I still hadn't finished my stand-up. Yeah. So I was in between that. I was sitting in our Airbnb trying to do dodgy Wi-Fi, trying to get this call and do a
So busy.
And I'm glad I was busy at that point, so it was nice, but it was a bit like, I'd be good doing with things like knowing when they're going to happen and placing them out throughout the year instead of just like 40 things are happening today, nothing's happening for a month. Like it's intense, but yeah. And then she came in for a costume fit. It's the first time I actually met her properly, and it was great. And even from then, she was amazing. I remember going up to the costume director, and I was like, the costume designer, sorry. She went up to the costume designer, and I was showing her some of the outfits she was going to be wearing. And straight away she went, I don't think she would wear that. I don't think she'd wear that. And I was like, oh, right, okay, she's invested in the character. Yeah. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I think she's right. I think she's right. She would. And then we didn't want it to be too similar to Christine from Two Doors Down. And obviously visually it was really different, but like even like with the character, I was like, I love that character of Christine, and it's such a like working class mum. Like, and that's the vibe I want, but I want it. We talked about how in ways I wanted it to be different, and she was really like just so in from the start, and she was amazing with Harper as well. Like, she just totally said this before as well, but she kind of like, anytime there was anything that I was like, okay, Harper, can you try it this way or whatever, in order for her to not feel like she was doing something wrong or getting in trouble. You know, I really worked on how I can talk to kids. We work directing kids, and like, because I had never done that before, so I was really researching like, how do I deliver notes to them in a way that they're not like, I'm doing it wrong, because like it's not. So I really did do that, but Elaine was even more helpful, because she would be like, if she could sense, like, she'd know if maybe something wasn't right in that bit, and she would turn to her and be like, why don't you do it? Like, try that, and like kind of do a bit that it took away the kind of pressure of me doing it in ways, like, because it might have made her feel a bit intimidated, and I really appreciate that, because she's just a pro. Like, she's just been doing it for so long, and her and Maureen Carr are good pals. They're chatting, and they on set are getting on so well, and it was just a good
I can imagine that idea of community actually resonates on set as much as it does within the story.
Because again, special actors, you know, that's in this industry in Scotland for so long, you know, and doing amazing things, and then maybe not having work lined up, or maybe not having a massive role, and then continuing to work, and even Julie Wilson-Nimmo, amazing.
Listen, I was on the train through from Stirling, and I kept thinking about Julie Wilson-Nimmo's, even just her hair and her pure attitude.
Yeah, her hair.
I kept bursting out laughing.
You know, because I don't think she really plays a baddie that often. So, but Julie Wilson-Nimmo is genuinely the nicest person I've ever met in my life, and everyone in my life who's met her throughout this is just like, she's the nicest person. And she's so kind. She's so like encouraging, and I'm so glad I could work with her again. Love to work with all of them again, and I think they just were so happy to be part of it. And it was like, even she would text me after and be like, "Oh, I'm missing all the gang today," and I was like, "We're only shooting for 5 days, and we're still missing it." 5 days is a luxury for 15 minutes short, but we were shooting for 5 days. But I think a lot of the time as well, see, with kids, working with kids, there's a lot of the thing about the certain hours they can work, obviously, and like they have breaks more regularly than adult actors, and so that all these things take more time. So it was actually good to have 5 days, you know, and like, because before I've shot a half an hour pilot in 3 days.
Okay, geez,
so it's like
so that was actually quite a luxury to have that time.
Yeah, and we had BBC Three and BBC Scotland involved, so that allowed us a bit more like time. And
I wonder if that breathing space is another reason why, if you've got it, then when you distill it, and the things even that aren't there, that you know aren't there, the darlings that had to get kind of cast asunder, if you like, everything is still in there in a way, right? The emotion of it, or there will be something of that story that's still wrapped up in it, you know, that we don't necessarily see.
Yeah, that's true,
And maybe having the 5 days had that power as well, because it's almost deceptive in the fact that it is as short as it is. It doesn't really feel it in a way.
Yeah,
right?
there is a lot packed into that 15 minutes, and so many setups, and I think it was ambitious in some ways. But even then, my granda was like, "We didn't see any of the fair in it," and I was like, "Excuse me, you've seen quite a lot of things in 15 minutes, right?" And he went, "How are you not in it? I thought you were going to be in it." I was like, "I've told you I'm not in it." And he was like, "Oh, well, I'm disappointed that you're not in it." I was like, "Well, there's lots of great people in it, so you can focus on that."
Was he at least a bit happier about the fact that you were crowning the actual, and by the way, the crown, the real crown,
it's the real
features
crown,
in the film. And then
that's the thing, because the Govan Fair have been so amazing throughout this, because obviously we contacted them about making this, because we were like, it's the name of your fair and it's all about you. We want you to be involved from the get-go. You know, we don't want you to feel like, oh, someone's just made this story about us and we don't even know, you know.
Yeah.
And also I was like, don't worry, there is some things that are fictionalised. Like the actual Govan Fair Queen is voted for by your peers. It goes to a different primary school and it votes for you. Your peers vote for you. But on this one, it was kind of like a pageant, more like a pageant, and you do like talent shows and that. So that doesn't actually happen. There are talents and things, but the Queen is just decided by our classmates. So I had to say that. I was like, by the way, there's a bit that's a bit changed, because the first thing in my head was like, someone on Facebook's going to be like, that's not what happens in the Govan Fair Queen, this is made up. So I thought, no, I'll get it right.
Okay. Well, listen, just finally, what was it like actually being at the actual Govan Fair after all that?
It was good. It was exciting. I felt a bit shy. I felt a bit embarrassed. But it was nice when I got to say on stage that I made a film about the Govan Fair and you can watch it soon. And read, as I said, reading the comments and stuff online, it was really nice. Like I think people from here liked it. I'm sure the odd person didn't. But
no, we loved it.
No, but if everybody liked it, it's, you know, it's normal for people not to like things, and I don't like a lot of things. I don't comment on Facebook saying I don't like.
No, exactly.
But I don't like.
Be
them
nice, be nice, and I'm sure your grandparents loved it, really, and your family.
Oh,
right, well, let's go downstairs and you can show me where the actual room happened.
Yes.
And thank you so much. Lovely to speak to you. And honestly, what a lovely film. It's just fun.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Keep writing.
I will.
Want the next one? Right, hold on a wee second. Thank you so much. Right.
Thanks again to lovely Paul Black for his time, and to Betty, Sinead and everyone at the Pearce Institute at Govan for making us so welcome. You can watch Govan Fair Queen on BBC iPlayer via BBC Scotland and BBC Three right now. You totally should. If you fancy hearing more Elaine C Smith chat, you can listen back to a Kick Up the Arts with her two doors down pal Jonathan Watson. There's also an episode with theatre and screen legend Dave Anderson, who chats about the impact that Elaine had on the steamy and on political theatre in the 1980s in Scotland. Speaking of theatre, Gavin Mitchell, aka Still Gabe's Bobby the Barman, is treading the boards in Glasgow and Edinburgh this summer in the revival of Casablanca, the Gin Joint Cut. Gavin's also going to be in conversation with me at the stand. Did I mention? In Edinburgh, at the Fringe, August the 18th. It's a lunchtime. What are you waiting for? Other guests joining me that week are wildlife superstar Gordon Buchanan, Barbara Dixon, Grant Stott, Justin Curry, and Horse. All of that 1 week in August. All your lunchtimes. Come and join us. We're also having a party at Edinburgh International Book Festival on August the 10th, Sunday night, in the Spiegel tent. We're looking at and celebrating the incredible women who were starting a riot in music, theatre, books and more, with live music, DJ sets and lots of chat from Emma Pollock, Cora Bissett, Chitra Ramaswamy, and last week's podcast guest, Carrie Marshall. Live music from the Hen House Collective as well. There are tickets and more information for all of that, everything, and all the episodes at kickupthearts.org. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Please subscribe, sign up for the newsletter. I might give away some tickets. And thank you, as always, for listening. Bye for now. I have to turn this off at some point. I don't know how to do that.